Welcome to the Nightly Nuge. Ted, you mention this all the time. You call it the Biden crime family. I know there's some people out there listening and say, well, that's harsh. But you know what? If you're paying attention to what's coming out on the Hunter Biden laptop, what the House Oversight Committee, and they're investigating that laptop, some of the things that I've been hearing on mainstream media from actual House of Representative members, I think the phrase the Biden crime family is appropriate. So, Ted, give our listeners a little bit of a background on why you say that and what's going on with the laptop from Hunter Biden.
Well, just take any chapter in Joe Biden's life and take any chapter that's been exposed publicly on record of Hunter Biden's life. If those aren't gangster maneuvers, if those aren't criminal activities, if that form that he filled out to purchase that gun wasn't a felony, his laptop is wall-to-wall crime and manipulation and compensation from communist Chinese so-called partners to have influence over with his dad when he was vice president. The evidence is a raging rapids of undeniable information and evidence. Isn't it fascinating, Keith, that our intelligence agencies all lied? And they signed a lie of a letter claiming that it was Russia misinformation and blaming it on Donald Trump during the campaign for the 2020 election. And now it's come out that all those bureaucrats, all those CIA and FBI and DOJ, all those people with all that authority and power have now been identified as 100% liars. They said, let's lie. They said, let's write a lie. Let's put in an official letter form from the U.S. government and lie that Hunter Biden's laptop was created by Russian conspirators. Who doesn't know this? Because the laptop is full. There's not a human being on the planet Earth that, if we had this information and evidence on our laptop, that we wouldn't already be facing a firing squad. Treason after treason after treason, felony after felony after felony, and it's all Hunter Biden as manipulated by his dad, Joe.
Yeah, and while you're still on this topic of that letter that was written by all those intelligence officers, first of all, what Ted was referring to, if you don't know, is the email that asked them all to participate came from Biden's campaign. And the reason they did it is to give Joe some talking points back once that came up. And the second thing on that, Ted, our listeners need to know is all of those liars still have top secret government clearance, which is just crazy.
Now, Hunter Biden's ex-wife is coming right out and saying, yep, he was getting paid off by Ukraine. I believe it was Ukraine and China. The real heartbreak here on Nightly Nuge, we could get worn out, but take a good look at the old guitar player. I'm 74.6 years clean and sober. I'm cocked, locked, and ready to rock the Glock around the clock, Dr. Spock. I'm a free man. I'm created in the image and likeness of God. How dare somebody think they can tread on me? So my point is that there's crime, there's evil, there's corruption, there's abuse of power everywhere. And we, the people, are sitting back with NFL tickets and a beer, and we think that the American dream is complete. We have got to return to the Founding Fathers' vision that King George cannot tread upon us. He can't come into our village and take our women, can't take our crops, can't take our wool, they can't take our swords, they can't take our firewood. Somebody should probably watch Braveheart.
Yes.
And The Patriot.
Yes.
And The Gladiator and Dirty Harry and Old Yeller. I'm not kidding. And watch the history of evil and control and slavery by mankind, and we are in it right now. Property taxes, registering my vehicle every year with the same VIN number, with the same owner. I have to pay to register something that is eternally registered. I mean, I could go on with a million examples how this is it. The American dream today is 180 degrees contrary to the Founding Fathers' vision. Government is bloated to an obscene, criminal, evil level. If the government was in charge of my tour, I would have to hire 6,000 roadies, because each one would be in charge of a doorknob, one would be in charge of windows, one would be in charge of air conditioning, one would be in charge of a guitar cord, one would be in charge of the soldering iron. Wait, when I got one guy that will do all 50 of the jobs that the bureaucracies would bloat. So this is the hell raising that the Nightly Nuge is accomplishing. So once again, thank you, everybody. But if you just enjoy it and you go, yeah, you're darn right, go Ted, go. Thanks for nothing. If you're mayor, your school board, your chief of police, your sheriff, your state trooper commander, your governor, your senator, your congress, if all of the people who work for you don't know what you believe in, they like to laugh in your complacent, apathetic, enslaved face. Don't let them get away with this.
I think they're already laughing at us, Ted. I think what we need to do is, I'm done calling my people because they don't do anything. I'm going to get them voted out. That's what I'm going to do, because these people are laughing at us. We call them, we complain. A bunch of us good people do it, and they give us the middle finger, and they continue to do what they want.
Senator Johnson out of Wisconsin, a great, great patriot, a great statesman, a great warrior for freedom. He is now uncovering evidence that we've known all along, but the evidence is now surfacing, that the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden gangster family, and all this sniffing of little children's hair, and all this fondling of little boys and girls, in many instances with Joe Biden, this pervert, this man who wants to tell children they can change their gender, and they can be mutilated at the whim of a school freak or an irresponsible parent.
And who he kisses his granddaughter right on the lips, and he showered with his own daughter. Go ahead.
The Joe Biden, Hunter Biden gang, which I'm afraid is huge. It's the Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein. They're all perverts. They're all child molesters and child sex traffickers. And once again, I've said it before, where the hell are all these thousands of little boys and girls that came across the border that were raped by the coyotes, the Mexican drug cartel coyotes, who rape these children and get paid and then bring them into America for their fellow? People are going to just go nuts with this. But the Mexican drug cartel devils bringing in little boys and girls to go into the sex trafficking of Uncle Sam. Somebody prove me wrong, because the evidence is irrefutable.
Last point, Ted. I just saw on Fox News this weekend where 9 out of the 10 whistleblowers, according to U.S. congressmen, are either in jail, in court, or missing due to pressure from the Biden administration. Does that not scare the living hell out of you?
Yeah, if I let it, but I don't let it. I keep spotlighting cockroaches, and the founding fathers, everybody take a deep breath and try to process what I'm about to tell you, because it's as cocky can be, which I am your cocky czar, if you haven't noticed. Ted Nugent is exactly what the founding fathers wanted all Americans to be suspicious of all authority, to demand constitutional accountability from all of our elected employees, and to always fight for good over evil. Not just to acknowledge good over evil, but to fight for good over evil. And get George Kelly out of jail in Arizona for defending his life from an armed invader illegally on his property. From Sergeant Dan Perry in Texas, in jail, for stopping a person from killing him with a rifle. This is the end of the American dream and justice in America, when self-defense is considered a crime, when a great Marine stops a lifetime career criminal from assaulting and threatening people's lives on the subway in New York. The government sides with the evildoer and punishes the hero. That's all you need to know.
Well, Ted, every day this week, we're telling our listeners that, of course, stay up to date on the current issues, but enjoy the great outdoors. And they can see you, Shemaine, with the Queen of the Forest, on the Spirit of the Wild multiple times a week, only on the Pursuit channel. Tell us about that.
Well, truth, logic, and common sense will make you very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. In fact, I killed a bushy-tail this morning, and when I eat them tonight, it'll make me even more bright-eyed. What a great little soliloquy that just was. My point being is that Shemaine and I celebrate the definitive healing powers of God's miraculous nature in the great outdoors. And for 34 years, we don't produce, we document, we push the record button on our little cameras and celebrate hands-on, perfect conservation, wise use of God's precious renewable resources, and environmental upgrade by maximizing and optimizing the habitat for the wildlife that we so cherish, that also produces our quality air, soil, and water. Find me another human being that ever put that sentence together. And we do it every night, 8 times a week on the Pursuit channel on the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show, now 34 years. And by the way, everybody, my name's Ted Nugent, and the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show on Pursuit channel is the #1 hunting show in the world. Hey, have a nice day. I'll be whacking them and stacking them. Anybody got a problem with that? Call 1-800-NUMBNUT, and Michael Moore will tell you why washcloths should be banned.
On the topic of the Spirit of the Wild, Ted, you talk a lot about the Second Amendment on there and enjoy all that. Tomorrow night, I want to get your take on one particular threat that's been thrown out to the good people of the world if the Supreme Court doesn't do what they want when it comes to Second Amendment. Tomorrow night, right here on the Nightly Nuge.
Truth, logic, common sense. It turns me on.